Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're stepping right onto the pitch to unpack the invisible mechanics of the beautiful game. You know, the stuff the camera often completely misses. We're talking about the hidden safety nets, those lightning-fast reactions, and the ultimate spatial awareness you literally have to succeed in modern football. We're going to break down the highly dynamic tactics of covering, recovering, and the absolute secret weapon that makes the whole thing possible: scanning. To get us started, I want you to picture this scenario for a second. The game is in full flow, right? The pressure is really mounting, and suddenly, out of nowhere, a center back completely abandons their post to step up and chase the ball. So what happens next? Does the defense just crumble? Does the opposition score instantly? Well, usually, yeah. Unless, of course, you have the right tactical foundation. Without it, it's absolute chaos out there, and that empty space is exactly what attackers dream of. But, as we'll see, the elite teams actually have a built-in response for this exact nightmare. All right, let's dive right into Section 1. What is covering? You know, we hear pundits throw the word covering around all the time, but we really need to establish a clear mental baseline before getting into the granular details. Covering and recovering sound incredibly similar, and sure, they both deal with managing space and possession. But honestly, they require completely different physical actions and mental triggers from the players. Let's unpack them one by one, starting with covering. Believe it or not, covering actually starts when your team has the football. It isn't just about a single player physically shielding the ball from an opponent. It's really about the teammates off the ball creating a structural safety net. Think of it like a geometric web of passing options, so the player under pressure is always covered. True covering in possession means ensuring that if you're getting swarmed and can't hold onto the ball yourself, you've already covered your bases by having a network of safe, immediate passes ready to go. Now let's flip the script to covering out of possession. And this answers our opening question. Covering is exactly what happens when a player gets pulled out of position and a teammate immediately steps in to fill that vacant space for them. So going back to our center back scenario, if one pushes up, the other instantly gets dragged over to fill the void until their partner gets back. It's literally the ultimate buddy system. Next time you watch an elite match, look closely for this invisible string tying the center backs together. That's why their structure doesn't just collapse.
Moving on to Section 2, the art of recovering.
Okay, so that structural safety net is brilliant when you're organized. But let's be real, football is pure chaos. When the ball is suddenly turned over, covering goes right out the window and recovering takes over. It is all about urgency. It's the immediate physical and tactical reaction the split second you lose possession. The opposition launches a counterattack, you're caught totally out of position, and transitioning from attacking to defending requires a massive, immediate shift in mindset. You have to retreat, and you have to do it instantly. And just to be super clear here, recovering isn't just turning around and chugging backward toward your own goal to build a wall, like some winded Sunday League defender. No way. It is a highly aggressive, proactive effort. The ultimate goal of recovering is to hunt the football down and win it back immediately. It's basically asking the team, once we lose this ball, how fast can we flip the momentum back in our favor? It's a high-intensity sprint to neutralize the threat.
Which brings us to Section 3, the secret weapon, scanning. So, we know the physical tactics, right? Creating passing webs, filling the gaps, sprinting back on a counter. But how on earth do players process all this in the blink of an eye? Well, it comes down to one simple, beautifully foundational rule: you can't cover what you can't see. Seriously, if a player doesn't have a constant picture of the entire pitch running in their mind, all the physical speed in the world isn't going to help them.
I want you to really think about a player's vision for a second. If you're out there playing with tunnel vision, you are practically playing with a blindfold on. You are severely limited, and honestly, worse than that, you are completely exposed. The importance of scanning, especially when we're talking about covering and recovering, is absolutely huge. If you aren't constantly scanning the environment, you have zero clue what space you've just abandoned or what massive gaps your defensive partner just left wide open. Here's the thing, though. Scanning isn't a natural reflex for everyone. Actually, scratch that. It's a biological habit that has to be relentlessly drilled. Elite players are constantly checking their shoulders, kind of like they're merging onto a crazy busy highway. Coaches have to drill this in until players realize it's a non-negotiable part of the game. Because the more you look, the more you see. And the more you see, the better you get at anticipating space on the pitch. You're not just reacting to a counterattack anymore. You've already mapped out the exact space it's going to happen in.
Okay, let's look at how this is taught in Section 4, Coaching the Tactics. So how do we actually build players capable of doing all this? Well, out on the training pitch, coaches will slice the field up into 3 distinct segments to manage game formations. They encourage the players to operate strictly within their assigned zone. But here's where the real learning happens. If a defender steps up into that middle zone, maybe to press the ball or support an attack, they are forced to cognitively realize, uh-oh, I'm out of position. The drill literally trains their brain that they must quickly retreat back into their defensive zone. It builds that split-second instinct to recover the exact moment the play shifts.
At the same time, it's definitely not about programming robots. By letting players move somewhat freely within these tactical constraints during practice, they start to discover their own natural areas, those pockets of the pitch where their instincts just naturally take over. The whole philosophy here is that players perform so much stronger when they find the areas of the pitch that best suit their unique abilities, whether that's dropping back to defend or leading the line up front.
To tie the whole shebang together, the most effective approach is the whole-part-whole method. Basically, you let them play a full game, break it down to focus on a specific part, like, say, scanning or recovering, and then drop them right back into the whole game to test it out. But the absolute biggest takeaway here is empowerment. It's way less about a coach standing on the touchline acting like they have a FIFA joystick, shouting every single command. It's much more about giving players the tools to read the matrix themselves. The coach's job is just to give timely advice, correct those slightly off starting positions, and empower the players to close gaps naturally.
So the next time you're watching a match, or maybe leading a training session yourself, ask yourself this: are these players just rigidly following orders, or are they empowered, scanning decision makers who actually see the game in 3 dimensions? Because honestly, the answer to that usually dictates the final score. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your head on a swivel, and we'll see you next time.